Hey there guys, and welcome back to Tech Easily. So this is my last video in my Python series, and I'm going to be going through data visualizations and data analysis using Python in Jupyter Lab. So you guys, this is my 5th video in my Python series, and if you guys want to catch up on everything I have covered up to this point, then I'll leave a link to all of those videos in the description box down below, so you guys can check those out first. But for now, in this video, it's actually a really interesting one, and I'm going to be teaching you guys all about the packages that we installed in our previous videos. So Numpy, Matplotlib, and Panda, and how we're going to be using those packages to create data visualizations. And I'll teach you guys how to create plots, bar charts, and also pie charts. So if you guys are interested in seeing how to do that, then please keep on watching. So you guys, I'm going to go straight into this because I have a lot to cover in this video. But basically, I went into Anaconda Navigator and launched my Jupyter Lab. Again, detailed version of all of this is covered in all of my previous videos, so please check those out. But basically, I have a Python 3 file open here, and again, you can rename this, you can save this on your desktop, you can go through all that stuff, but I'm going to just get into the main important points. So let's zoom in and get started. So if you guys remember from my previous video, we installed the packages of Matplotlib, Panda, and also Numpy. So if you guys want to use modules that are inside of those packages, we need to import that. So let's start off with the most important one, and that's Matplotlib. So what you want to say here is from Matplotlib. So from this package, we want to import the package of pyplot, and then we can give it as a shortcut. You can say any name. So I'm going to say plt. So I'm just going to go through what all of this means. So from the package of Matplotlib, you want to import this module called pyplot, and the way we're going to use this in our code is using plt dot and then whatever sort of data visualization you want to create. And in simplicity, we're using pyplot to basically make our charts. And I'll be going through all of that in this video, so let's just Control S or save and run our program. So this will install it, import it. So now you guys, once we have the most important package out of the way, while we are here, let's go ahead and do the same thing for Numpy. So it's very similar to what we've done before. It's going to be import Numpy as np. Again, let's save this and run it, and it should be added to our system. So you guys, these were the things that you need to do before we go on and create data visualizations. Data visualizations are, in simplicity, just a graphical representation of data. So I'll be going through a really simple and basic example first, just so you guys can understand what's going on here. So let's create two variables. I'm going to call the first one x, and this is going to be a list. So let's just say x contains 2, 3, 4. And let's create another list, and this time I'm going to call it y. And I'm going to put in numbers 2, 5, 8. Okay, so to plot all of this, what we are going to be using is plt that we got from pyplot. So let's use this statement plt.plot, and I'm going to pass in my x and y lists. And what this does, you guys, is it puts or plots the x on our x-axis and our y on our y-axis. So before we go ahead and do anything else, let's just save this and run it to see if it works. So I'm going to press run, and as you guys can see, it has worked. So I'm going to zoom you guys in so we can go through this in more detail. So as you can see, my x had the values of 2, 3, and 4. So here on our x-axis, you can see that it's going from 2 up to 4. And then for my y list, I had values going 2, 5, and 8. And as you can see, it goes from 2 to 5 to 8. So it has done that right. But what we don't have right now is we don't have a title and we don't have labels for our x or y axis. We don't know what this data is for. So let's go back into our cell and let's put all of this in. Okay, so after our plt.plot, I'm going to put in plt again. That's going to be used for all of them. And you guys can probably guess, to add a title, you're going to put in plt.title and open up your brackets. Inside quotation marks here is where the name of your plot is going to go. So I'm going to call this test. You can put in anything you want here. And then now if we run it, let's just save it and run it and see. You can see that the name test has appeared. So just by using plt.title, you can put in the name. Next, you guys, let's go ahead and label our x and y axes. Again, after my plt.title, I'm going to put in plt.x label. Again, these are really easy to do and easy to remember as well. So the x label one is .x label, and it's going to be the same thing for y. It's going to be .y label. So inside here, I'm going to put in x, and then again plt.y label, and in here I'm going to put in y. Let's zoom out and save and test. So you guys can see that our labels have appeared, x on the x-axis and y on the y-axis. So you guys, this was the basics of plotting. So next I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a bar chart. So this is also something that's really commonly used in data visualizations and really important to know as well. But before I go into that, another thing to note, you guys, is you can use a thing called plt.legend. And that's basically used if you have more than one lines here. It's used to distinguish which line represents which list. So if, for example, I had X, Y, and Z, I could use a legend to distinguish that. But let's go on to creating our bar charts for now and keep it really simple and basic for beginners. So for our bar charts, let's go ahead and create lists. Another thing I really want to quickly point out is to comment. You just put in the hash, and then because we're doing bar charts now, I'm going to put that in. And this is not executed when you run the code. It does nothing, it's just there as a comment. I just wanted to show you guys how to do that. But for now, let's create our first list. Let's just say you're creating a bar chart for what types of movies people like. So let's create a list called movies. And inside here, I'm going to put in, let's say, drama, action, and then these are separated by commas, romance, and then comedy. Next, let's create another list, and this is for the people who like these. So let's just put in 20 for drama, 9 for action, So as you guys can see, we have our movies going across in our x-axis, and then the number of people going in our y-axis. And if we see, we had 20 for drama, so if we can see, it goes up to 20, action was 9, romance was 33, and then comedy was 40. So it has put that in the correct order. But again, we haven't gotten the labels for our X and Y axis and also our title, but we know how to do that from the previous one. So let's go ahead and do the same for this one. So if you guys learned the statements, so plt.title and then for X and Y axis, it's the same for every sort of visualization you create. The only part that changes is if you want to make a bar chart, and then later on I'm going to show you for the pie chart what one we're going to use. So basically this is the part that changes, but the title and everything else stays the same. So let's say that the title is People's Favorite Movies. Okay, and then for the X label, I'm going to say plt.xlabel, and I'm going to put in movies here and save, and then plt.ylabel, and it's going to put in number of people. So let's save all of this and run our program. So as you guys can see, the X label of movies has appeared on our x-axis, and then the Y label of number of people has appeared on the y-axis. Again, if you guys were to include more measures, so have more lists here, in order to be able to distinguish between them, you'd be using a legend, like I said before. And how you would do that is where you have your plt.bar, you want to put in a comma and put in label is equal to, in this case it's for movies, and then what you do is put in plt.legend at the end. And if we save this and run, you can see it says movies up here. Now if you were to include more measures and more lists, this is the way you'd be able to distinguish it between all of those. So now you guys that we know how to create a bar chart and how to plot values, let's go ahead and look into the last thing I'm going to be going through in this video, which is how to create a pie chart. Now, like the previous two, most of what we're going to be using is the same, so the title, the labels, the legend. The only thing that's going to change is instead of using plt.plot or using plt.bar, we're going to be using plt.pie. And these are actually really easy to remember, you guys. There's nothing complicated in the terminology that you guys won't remember it. So like always, you guys, let's start off by creating a list. I'm going to call this slices, and that's equal to, open our brackets, and let's just say it's equal to 20, 45, and 30. Again, you can change these values to whatever values you have, or whatever you're using. The same thing goes for the movies. This could be anything that you're trying to visualize your data for. So like I said, you guys, to plot this, we're going to say plt.pie, and it's basically as easy as that. We're going to open and close our brackets, and inside here we're going to pass in our list, so slices. If you notice the pattern, it's the same that we did for our bar and also for the first one. So let's Control S or save and run this. And as you guys can see, our pie chart has appeared. The only thing, you guys, is there's no labels on this, so we can assume that 45 is the orange section, 20 is the blue one, and then 30 is the green. But let's go ahead and I'll teach you guys how to put in the labels. So what you guys need to do is create another list, and I'm going to call this label. Again, you guys can call this anything you want. You can change all these values, you can change what sort of data you're comparing, etc. So inside here, if I just use the movie example, I'm just going to put in drama, action, and then romance. So now to put this in, you guys, where we have plt.py slices, what I want you guys to do is put in a comma, and then we're going to say labels is equal to labels. So this variable we've just created, we can just paste that in. And what this is going to do is this is going to put drama for 20, so here it's going to put in action for 45, so here, and then romance is 30, so down here. Let's save our code and run this. One last thing, you guys, is let's just put in the title, but before that I'll just put in a comment saying pie charts, just so you guys can get used to how to add comments and stuff in. So again, let's just say plt.title and put in whatever you guys want to call it. I'm just going to put in pie chart, and again, let's save and run, and there we have it, our pie chart. And it's basically as simple as that. Once you guys get used to what actually you need to use to get that data visualization, so pie for pie charts, bar for bar charts, etc. The rest of the things are the same, so plt.title, and then in these, the x, y, everything else is the same. So it's actually not that hard to create data visualizations in Python. So that's it for today's video, you guys, and this video marks the end of my Python series, from teaching you guys how to install Anaconda onto your machines, to using the Anaconda Navigator and Jupyter Lab, to showing you guys how to create your first Python program with Hello World, and then installing packages that we needed to use for our data visualizations, to then actually going and creating our charts, pie charts, bar charts, etc. I really hope you guys learned something useful out of this series and it helped you guys in any sort of way. Until we code again, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell. Please also leave any questions or recommendations you guys may have in the comments section down below, and I will get to them as quick as I can. And I will see you guys in my next video.